One of my favorite ways to create music is through a process we call improvisation, right? Making it up as you go along. And I know for a lot of you, even those of you who are schooled musicians, experienced musicians, you might not be comfortable with the idea of making up music as you go along. You're used to the idea of either learning a song or reading music from a musical score. And when you're faced with nothing to read or nothing to play, nothing to reproduce, you don't know where to start. And so I've actually written a whole book on this called The Way of Music, but here's a few tips, here's a few places that you can start from, and a few ways that you can then develop your music from those places. So I like to say that all you need to do to start playing music is to make a sound. Just make any sound. You don't have to even know what sound's going to come out. Just start. And when you start, you've started along the path. So I think starting is a really important thing. And you might think, well, I need to know where I'm going to start. But actually, why? Why do you need to know? You don't need to know, because wherever you start is going to be where you are, right? It's sort of like start where you are. Really wise words. So just play a note. You don't even have to think about it. Just play a sound. And then from there, you can do three things. You can continue to do something similar. You could repeat it, or you can keep playing that sound. You could change that sound a little bit into something else that is also similar but related but different. Change it, modify it. Or you could just stop and do something completely different. So you can always continue doing what you're doing. You can change it a little bit or a lot, or you could stop. All right? Easy. So I'm going to give you an example right now. I'm going to play a sound, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, so I'm on my way to some sort of composition. As soon as I started playing, I repeated the thing, but then I changed it a little bit. And when you do that, when you use repetition, and this is one of your tools that I'm giving you, use repetition. Now you've got a theme, or what we call a motif or motif. A theme or a motif is the germ or the seed of music. And from there, you can branch off and you can sprout and you can grow and you can go different places. And you can always come back to that theme. And this is really powerful, because music it's about novelty, it's about newness, but it's also about familiarity. It gives us a satisfaction when we come back to the theme. And great composers of all types all around the world know this. So you hear a theme, it's new, that's satisfying. You go away from the theme, you explore, okay, that's good. Then you come back to the theme and you say, I recognize that. That's also satisfying. Okay, so let's think about compositionally now a tool called the ABA form. So now we've got start, do something. You can keep doing it, change it, or stop it. So those are three forks in the road that you could take. Then we've got, if you do develop it, go do something else that's different at one point. That's going to be our B section. So we've got A is our theme. B is do something really different, another kind of theme, another motif, something else. Then come back to the A section. So I'm going to show you a very simple way to do this. I'm going to just play a few notes, and we'll play around with volume, dynamics, rhythm, and the sound of the instrument. So here's an example of an ABA improvisation. hope you noticed there were 3 sections there. There was a theme on the upper end of the flute, upper register, and then my B section was very different, very rhythmic, down at the lower range of the instrument, and then I went back to the upper end and ended up there. And this is an ABA form. It's a very common form, someplace that you can start. The last point I want to make about melodic play and exploration and improvisation is that I see a lot of people who apparently feel as if they need to be playing a different pitch every time they tongue a note or make a new note sound. And that, I think, puts a lot of pressure on you, especially as a novice player, as a beginning player. And that would sound like this. This is what I'm talking about. In other words, playing different notes all the time. And this is a lot of work. It's a lot of up and down the scale, and it's a lot of chances to, maybe not hit the right note or not coordinate your breath with the note. And actually, compositionally, it's a little unusual that you would have melodies that would just constantly move up and down all over, up and down the ladder, back and forth, even incorporating leaps. And so what I would recommend to you, to make it a little bit easier on yourself and also add more interest and add more suspense to your flute play, is just stick with one note or 2 notes for a little while. Play a few attack notes like ta breaths on one note. You can do a lot of things with your rhythmic breath, with vibrato, with little finger moves like grace notes or bends, without changing the main note you're playing. So let me give you an example of, you could just do a solo around one pitch, one note, all right? And I would try that just to see what it's like, and then maybe add a few more from there. But strip it way down to, I'm going to play a solo on one note, and I'm just going to play a little bit above and below that note, but basically it's going to be focused on one note. Okay, something like that. So you're really using rhythm more, you're using expression. And it's not that hard. I was playing 3 notes total. 1 note below, 1 note above the main note. So think about that. Think about incorporating that idea into your improvisation, into your flute play. And maybe that will be the starting point of your theme or your motive, or that germ or seed idea that then branches out and grows into a composition. So use the idea of starting somewhere, use the idea of continuing what you're doing, changing what you're doing, or stopping what you're doing and doing something else totally different. Use the idea of theme development through repetition. Use the idea of ABA form, playing something different, contrasting, and then returning to the first idea or something like it. And then use this idea of, instead of moving up and down the scale constantly, focusing on creating variations by how you play certain notes, using different rhythms, using different breath techniques, using different ornamentation. All right, so I hope that helps you guys. If it does, I'd love to know about it. If you'd love to leave any comments below this video, that'd be great. I'll try to answer them the best I can. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.